How do you take a phenomenal supercar and make it even better? Well, you cut the roof off, of course. This is the Lamborghini Huracan LP610-4 Spyder. It's a topless follow-up to one of my favorite supercars at the moment, and less roof means more noise from that 600 horsepower V10 that's mounted in the rear. But it does mean a few compromises too. Let's start by talking about what hasn't changed, and behind me is the same 5.2-liter V10 engine found in the coupe, which puts 600 horsepower down through all four wheels. And you need that all-wheel drive because it's got more than enough power to spin all four of the 20-inch Pirellis that are sitting on the corners of this car. That power goes through a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission that's controlled by these ridiculously huge paddles behind the wheel here. In fact, everything in the interior here is ridiculous, which is one of the things I love about the Huracan. So look at this dashboard and all these toggle switches and this flip-up cover for the ignition. I can't help but imagine that the interior designer is a 12-year-old kid who was sitting in his bedroom surrounded by posters of jet fighters and weapons when he designed this thing. And sitting in here, it makes me feel like a 12-year-old again. And I gotta say, not too many cars make you feel like a 12-year-old. The big change is, of course, the top. It's fabric this time to save weight. It goes down in about 17 seconds, and crucially, you can open it at speeds up to 30 miles an hour. So if you get caught in the rain, you won't have to come to a complete stop. Or you can just speed up. Keep it over about 40 and you and your lucky passenger will stay dry, even with the top down. Now the power top and the other changes I've made to this car have added about 200 pounds over the base coupe. That's taken the 0 to 60 time down from 3.2 seconds to about 3.4 seconds, which looks something like this. I'd say that's still pretty good. Let's dial this down a little bit. The handling of this car hasn't really been compromised either. Back in the old days when they wanted to take an Italian supercar and make it a convertible, they'd call Giuseppe and tell him to go out to the shed and get the Sawzall. These days, it's all very different. The carbon tub in the Huracan here is plenty stiff enough to work without the roof, and so the handling isn't compromised. Lamborghini didn't have to soften up the suspension on the Spyder, and there's none of the annoying cowl shake or vibrations you can get in some more flabby convertibles. In fact, with the top up, you'd hardly even know you're in a convertible, so long as you don't spend too much time poking at the headliner. One thing you might notice is a bit of a lack of headroom. I'm only about 6 feet tall, but I do have admittedly short legs, and I'm slouching down a lot. If I sit up straight, yeah, not ideal. But the biggest advantage of the convertible is that you get to appreciate that sound, that glorious sound. And I'll shut up now so that you can appreciate it too. So it's a little heavier than the coupe and a little bit slower to 60, but there's one more compromise that you and I should discuss, and that's the cost. To get in one of these, you're looking at least $262,000. That's $25,000 more than the coupe. Is it worth it? Well, let's be honest. If you can afford a Huracan, you can probably afford to drop another 25 grand to go with the Spyder. And let me assure you, there's no better way to appreciate the sound of that V10 than with the top down. So unless you really hate being conspicuous, I would definitely say that you should go with the Spyder. Though I do hope you live somewhere sunnier than it is here today.